guys? Yeah, we win today. Decent large amount of guys. This is the second fish of the morning, and he took a little bit of convincing there. Hopefully we'll see that on the flasher, but I'm just out here at the same brush pile I've been fishing all year. I took my sweet time getting out here because the ice is going, guys. If you're venturing out, take your sweet time. I walked the shoreline. It took me 5 times longer to get to my spot, but safety is always most important. It's shot over there, all that dark ice. Just off this point, it's still 8 inches thick, 2 inches crap on top, but definitely flaky. And, we got a nice pass through, so made the trip worth it. We got wind out of the east, so I'm trying to talk. There's the other crappie I caught. So we got one crappie, one bass fish are just starting to move into this brush pile. Right now I'm fishing a 13 fishing purple minnow pattern with a VMC, of course, Tungsten Mongo Jig there. And we're gonna drop it back down there and see how many other fish we can bring topside this morning. This is probably gonna be my last ice fishing trip of the year. I have no clue how this would not be the last trip because it's going fast. Next week is all 50s. Probably open water fishing next week, so let's get that jig back down there. All right, folks, here's another one. Kind of set him weird. Had it on my other hand, my non-dominant hand. So I had to pull him up in a weird way, but that's a little better fish, guys. But you know, I don't think that's quite 10 inches yet. That's probably in the 9, the upper end of the keepers. So we're gonna add him to the pile. Again, I'm just vertical jigging a brush pile that I've been doing all year. The year's just been so whacked that, you know, I got such a good knowledge of this lake that I'm confident coming out here by myself and just being able to sit down and fish. So that's why we're out here, but we're just jigging. We're just threading this jig through the limbs, and hopefully these fish start to move in. It's 7:30, and almost like clockwork, these fish start biting around 8 o'clock. Between 8 and 9 is usually my favorite bite window. Hopefully it heats up as the day goes, and we'll get on a decent bite. We're just getting started. Alright guys, drilling some new holes. Seeing some individuals kind of spread out from the brush pile. I thought it was about time to get off that brush pile because I wasn't seeing much. So we'll keep this guy. He's another one of those in that 10-inch threshold probably. A little bit of gut on it. Not much though, pretty skinny. But better than what we've been doing. So we'll get him over there. Sometimes it just pays to get off that brush pile and just start exploring, because a lot of times those fish are not far off those brush piles. They'll just be meandering in and around it and spread out from it, and then they'll kind of move in and out. But I haven't seen a whole lot of fish moving into the brush pile, so I decided I would try to go after them, go hunt them down. And that's how that one came topside. Just getting off that brush pile, getting off my butt and hunting for them. Sharp shooting those crappie. Alright guys, so I switched holes and we got a pile of little bass down there. Not really what I'm looking for, but we're gonna keep plugging away. I just missed one right before that, and I got it about to the hole, and it looked like a crappie, but I didn't actually get a super good look at it. So we're just jumping. What we're gonna do the same thing here. We're gonna first fish the brush, and then we're going to spread out from the brush and see if there are fish just off of it. There's another one. We got here another little bass. Maybe it was a bass because the shimmer was very similar. So we just got a pile of little bass over here. Nothing special there. Oh. I think what I'm going to do is I'm just going to get all my drilling out of the way now and see if we can't pull a couple other fish topside. I'd really like to catch some more crappies. Alright guys, well that is a wrap on the 23-24 season, and it breaks my heart to say it, but I think we are done for the year. Here in central Iowa, it lasted about 2 weeks, and I got out several times, which is more than I was expecting. So I think I got out maybe 4 or 5 times in that 2 weeks, which is not doing too bad. I worked my butt off to get out there as much as I could to get a little bit of content for this season. I think for the next couple weeks it's going to be really tough getting content. The only thing open right now and probably safe to fish is the river. Most of our lakes, if not all of them, are all locked up with garbage ice on them, and it's very iffy as to whether or not that ice is safe to walk on. If I get a wild hair, maybe I'll at least check it, and if I'm feeling comfortable with it, maybe I'll get one more trip. But I think we are done for the year. I've never seen anything like it. I cannot believe how mild this winter's been, and my heart aches a little bit at how short this season is and has been, and I cannot wait to get back out on open water because I think that is it. Not a lot to take away from this season, guys. With it being so short, I didn't have time to learn a whole lot. I think what I learned most was always be switching out your jig combinations, either your plastic color or your tungsten jig color, and just play with combinations all the time, because I feel like that keeps those fish interested. We're vertical jigging, and those fish get a lot of time to stare at that jig. They just get a stare, 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 and sometimes what really helps, other than moving, is just switching colors. That is a variation, that's a change, and it might trigger a bite. So just always be willing to change colors. You might end up pulling more fish topside by just making subtle changes or great big changes in color combinations. My biggest takeaway from this ice season though is just kind of having a better understanding of how fish move in and out and around brush piles. If the fish are not on the brush pile, they might not be far from it, guys. A lot of times this year in the few trips I went, those fish were held up in the brush pile, but if they disappeared, I just start drilling new holes just outside of where I originally was, or just maybe a couple feet to a couple yards off, and I would find individuals or schools off of those brush piles. Same goes for brake lines, guys. Brakes are a great place to start looking for fish. If you don't initially get anything or see anything on your flasher or whatever electronics you have, just keep popping until you see something a little bit suspended. A lot of times those fish are glued to the bottom, but
I feel like I personally find fish faster when I see a little inkling of something suspended just off the bottom. So I will drill until I see something that looks like life or cover suspending just off the bottom, mid-column all the way to the right below the ice. So that's the takeaway, guys. Switch jig colors and color combinations and plastic colors often, and really thoroughly fish those brush piles and those breaks, and do not be afraid to grit out a lot of holes, because those fish might have moved just one direction or the other. If you have live scope or some sort of forward facing sonar, this helps a lot on the ice, because you can pivot and turn and change the direction of your transducer, and you can find those fish without having to drill a bunch of holes. I can't afford that technology right now. Hopefully someday I'll be able to maybe get forward facing sonar for ice fishing, but in the meantime I just do a lot of drilling, and that really helps me find those fish. Drill, 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 and thoroughly fish those areas that you have confidence those fish are holding. Make changes often, because those fish are staring at that jig constantly, and a slight change might help get that extra bite and bring that extra fish topside. So that's all I got for you guys. Like I said, it breaks my heart to know that the ice season's already over, but I'm not going to try to sulk too hard. I'm going to look forward to the open water season, and we're just going to make do with what we can while we are in this lull, waiting for waters to open up, water temperatures to warm up a bit, and we'll get back at them. So in the meantime, y'all take care, get your tackle organized, get ready for open water, do what you got to do, spend some time doing some other hobbies, take your mind off fishing. That's what I'm trying to do, and I'll see you soon. Have a good one, guys. Peace.